Hi, it's Marissa, MKiss Creations here on YouTube or Flosstube, same as on Instagram, and I'm here a week early for another Flosstube video. So this is Flosstube number 63. It is Wednesday, March the 4th, and I've just done too much this week. And I think that for the month of March, which is my birthday month, and I am hosting a sal, I am going to try to film every week. We're gonna have a lot of stitching, I think, just based on what this week was and kind of a new goal that I'm gonna work into my plans. So I think that once a week will be good for this month, and then we'll probably go back to our every other week schedule, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how you all like seeing me every week, or if you get tired of me or not. Tiny life update, we've had snow again. I think it's getting a little bit on the boring side, but the exciting thing is that we've tapped our maple tree. We have one tree and it holds 3 taps because it is so large, and it's something that we really enjoy. But for our family, it marks that winter is coming to an end. And winter coming to an end this year seems really exciting. There's a lot going on in the world, and I could sure use a little bit more sunshine in my life. And yeah, I need that sunshine. I need that spring weather to come, and I am really excited. Let's get started on stitching because something really exciting happened. And if you joined me on the weekend for my live, number one, you heard a lot about maple syrup because I love educating on maple syrup. It's easy and it's fun, and I won't go into that my little TED talk again. It was like, come for the stitching, stay for the stay for the sap lecture. But yeah, it's spring and big things happen. So if you joined me for my live, thank you so much. You came for the stitching, and I decided to film a live for my Consider the Lilies finish. I waited until I had one little flower left. It was almost, I think it was like a 200 stitch flower, so it did take me an hour to do it. I stitch two-handed on my Lowry, and so I filmed myself stitching that last tiny bit, and I added some jibber jabber in there for you. So if you would like to go grab a view of that, please feel free. I left the recording up on my YouTube channel, so you can enjoy that finish with me. There is a little bonus cat or a house panther visit at the end of that video too. So if you need your black cat fill, this month also has a Friday the 13th in it, as did February, which is really exciting in a house of black cats. But I won't make you wait any longer, and I will show you my finish of Heartstring Samplery's. Heartstring Samplery's Consider the Lilies. Here she is. Get her into the picture. I had to move my camera back a little bit today in all her glory. Oh, she's so good. Okay, so I'm gonna stand up. I stitched this, I committed this year and stitched in the 2026, and then I've just been chugging along. So I had almost I think I had this entire top portion to do this year. So I have done, on this side of the tree, I have done all of that. I think I had 9 lilies left to stitch when I started it, so I took care of those. Got I got all the other motifs done. So this is the flower that I stitched on my live, and that's what it looks like close up if you didn't get to see it And I'll show you its mirror, because I really love how Beth did this, where you're stitching the same thing, but it looks so different. So I'll get both of them in there. They're just really pretty. All right, so speaking of the mirror, here's the angels. I've talked about the angels before too, where I did change the colors on what is printed in the chart. The model stitch on the cover looks like this, with this more turquoisey blue on the bottom and this more gray blue on the top. But it's charted the other way around. So I decided that since this bottom down here was a brighter pink, that I wanted a brighter bottom on this blue angel, like in the model. And so I did it that way. So that's the only thing I changed. Oh, she's so pretty. I'm just gonna hold her close up here for you. The brickwork on this house is so nice. If you are stitching this, be careful on the roof of the house. Like on the edges, the X's are very like evenly spaced, and I got carried away and went all the way across that way the first time, and so I did end up ripping some of it out. But I do like the way that it's actually charted, and it's a little bit different and not as uniform. The brickwork is beautiful. That's my first brick house I've ever stitched, and I really loved it. This is stitched in with all the fancy flosses recommended by Beth. Oh, and I was going to, all right, I'm going to show you what I have left over, because I feel like if you're, so the model is stitched on 28 count, and I stitched this on, this is kind of like a 37 count fabric. So that being said, it's stitched 1/1 on 28 in the model. Mine's on 37. So if you stitch this on 40 count, or you find a weird piece of 37 count fabric like I did, you don't need doubles of some of the skeins. So I have full skeins left of chrysanthemum, Havana, pine needles, glazed carrots, hazelnut, roasted marshmallow, and terracotta. So I did not need the recommended skeins for those. The other colors where she recommended more than one skein, or even in the case of Oscar, 3 skeins, I did need to go into that third skein of Oscar. Not much. So if you were on 40 count, you might actually not need it. You might only need the 2, but please don't hold me to that. But so I'm going to put up a picture of where I was at the beginning of the year. So this is, I finished this on February 28th. So exactly 2 months worth of work is what went into this finish. So here's where it was, and here's what I did in that 2-month time period. I think I did pretty well. I stitched on other things too. It was not only this. I have a full-time job, 2 children, and a husband. I am the primary dinner person, though I will say on the weekends, he definitely takes over the first half of the day, or first 3/4 of the day, and he does fancy breakfast and usually takes the reins for lunch as well. So I do get stitching time. I did not sit on my tush that whole time though. I lived life and stitched. So there were a couple times where I just needed to put it down and pick something else up. I did not rage finish this project. I don't know if you have ever heard that term before, but sometimes I find that once you get really close to the end of a project, you're just so done with it that you feel like you have to finish it, and for some reason there's always knots and there's always kind of flubs and mistakes, and because you're just, it's not about it's not about the stitching at that point, it's just about finishing, and you get like kind of aggro on it. I never got like that with this piece. So Thank you so much if you joined with me, like actually on the live, and hung out and chatted and enjoyed my final stitches, because it meant so much to me to have people there finishing such a large project like this. I have been working on this since March of 2020. So this came out at 2020's market, and I started stitching it pretty quickly after I got it, and it got, you know, picked up and put down many times, and never got that big chunk of stitching. But again, you've seen what I accomplished in just this year, so it's doable. If you do not watch Rebecca at Beck Stitches Everything, she is also finishing this year, and she's actually getting close too. She's working down in this corner, and she really doesn't have much left. If she continues to go, which hopefully we can keep motivating her, I think she'll finish it in the next month or two also. You know, you got to keep up, you got to keep up, Rebecca. Let's get you to a finish also. But no doubt she's gonna finish it by the end of 2026, where she put in the date for that. So that is Consider the Lilies. The next time you see her on this channel will be when I get her into a frame, and she is FFO'd, but there she is for now. Thank you for joining me on that massive journey of cross stitch. That being said, I would like to pass the stash on this. US only, please. Do not say giveaway or win. And then please know that I took this booklet apart, okay? I will put the pages back in order as best I can for you. They are all here, but it's seen wear and tear. It is not an heirloom chart. It creates an heirloom piece, but this is, I would love to pass this on to somebody else who would love to stitch this gorgeous, gorgeous chart. So let's see. Please use the word, you're gonna say lilies because you're gonna tell me that you like the piece. Well, maybe you are. I don't know if you are. Let's use the word flowers in your comment if you would like to stitch this chart. You would like to take the Pass the Stash, and then in my next video I will draw a name from the people that use the word flowers or flowers. It doesn't matter. I'll search for flower, I think. So let me know if you would like to stitch this and you don't mind it being all separated and a little bit worse for the wear. I did not mark on anything. It is just all taken apart, which I actually found obviously made stitching easier. I was like pulling the book back and holding it open with binder clips, and that just didn't work for me. There's some motifs that are on a page break of 4 pages, and it was just so much easier for me to have those pages, even if I was having to flip one back and forth, it was easier for me to have the view of multiple of them. I never taped them all together, so all the pages are in one piece. They're just not put together. But I would love to pass this on, so use the word flowers in your comment, B18, so you can give me your address. Please do not, again, say win, giveaway. Don't bring them. Don't bring those people that don't actually want this. I mean, at this point, this pattern is not suitable for resale. I would never think about reselling it, but it's definitely usable for a stitcher. So if you would like this, please comment flower or flowers. Let's go with flowers, just because I feel like that's an easier word to use in a sentence. And I will choose somebody in my next video, or maybe one after. I might give you all a 2-week period to get in here on this, just because I am planning on filming a little bit more often than I normally do right now. All right, let's talk about all of the other things I've worked on this week, because holy cow, I actually have done quite a bit. Well, for me, I don't, some people maybe not, but again, what is it? Comparisons, thief of joy? Something like that. Don't compare yourself to others. We all stitch differently. We all have different time. Some people are retired. Some people are not. It is what it is. Stitch what you can and stitch what you want. All right. So after I finished that, which I was like, February 28th, I am finishing this because we are moving into March, and March I am hosting a sal. I am hosting the collector sal. Collector sal, if you do not know yet, I have mentioned it in my last two videos. It is a sal where we focus on stitching those patterns that we have collected that kind of surround a theme. So vintage patterns, veggie patterns, I am doing moths, and just because we often collect all these patterns, we like them all, but then we have so many of the same themed pattern that sometimes we don't even start them. Like I had start paralysis on my moths, and so I had not really stitched any of them except for my one Clouds Factory that's already going, which was the beginning of my little moth obsession. And now I have found so many more moth patterns. But on March 1st, I started Memento Mori. I will put a picture of the pattern here, but it is from this book, Witchy Stitching by Meg Black. She is the Witchy Stitcher, and this book has so many amazing stitches in it. It has 25 patterns in it. The retail price on this book is $22 US, 29 Canadian. So US, you are getting this, you are getting less than $1 a pattern for, I don't know that there's anything in here that I dislike. There are patterns that I probably won't stitch, but I will definitely get my money's worth out of this book. And even just with this one pattern, I am totally and completely content and happy. All right, so I started Memento Mori on March 1st. I am using a 32 count piece of Murky that I had that is just the right size, just barely fits in my Frankenstein Q-snap. And here is where that is at. So this again is Memento Mori from the Witchy Stitcher, and oh, I'm loving this. I finished earlier this year the Cryptid Sal from the Witchy Stitcher. I really like her patterns a lot, more than I thought I did. I have been finding myself on her website browsing lately and am just absolutely enjoying and making plans for even more purchases of her patterns that will go into my collection. But right now I have my moths and that's what I'm stitching. So there's gonna be more to come. But so this is my very first moth pattern that I am stitching for the collector sal for my birthday, which is tomorrow. And I would love for you to join me there. I have a couple of detailed posts on my Instagram, and I've been sharing everybody else who is joining in. With that being said, I've been writing them down every time somebody like shared their plans, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube. And so got a couple of shouts. Mama Bear Stitchery is stitching big cats. She has a Flosstube channel, so she will be linked down below. Maine Moose Mom Stitcher is stitching moose, right on brand. She does not have a Flosstube channel. She is an avid Flosstube watcher though, so you probably know who she is, and she has a prolific Instagram. She posts a lot of updates there. I would say almost daily, if not sometimes more than once a day. The Steadfast Stitcher, Beth, she also has an Instagram, a Flosstube. She is stitching library and book themed patterns, And she also has a Facebook group called Crafts and Books, so you can catch her in all those spots. Bright and Dusty is stitching on her 5x7 kits that she has, and she posted all her 5x7 kits that weren't started all laid out, and oh, she's got some amazing patterns to choose from, so please go check her out. Sloan Stitches Jess, who did join me on my live. Thank you, Jess. She is stitching black cats, which obviously I also have a love for, so I am really enjoying seeing all of her stitches. She posted a Flosstube video yesterday where she showed off some of her black cats. She doesn't even, I mean, she, I think, is starting some new ones for this, but she doesn't even have to. She already has a bunch of awesome black cats in progress. Just Keep Stitching Pam is busting out her game boards for a game board wall. She is stitching a bunch of primitive needle board games, and I think some of them have been re-released, so check hers out. Uplift Stitches, Melanie is stitching birds. She's also doing a Birds Day sale because her birthday is today. Happy birthday, Melanie. And then KBH Stitches is stitching veggies, and oh, so excited. She's actually stitching my Mind Your P's and Cukes pattern that I created, which is so fun for me to see somebody else stitching that. So that's really awesome. Nise Stitches is, she is, because we stitch, she films with her cousin. She is stitching JedxStitch patterns. And Paper Girl Ink is stitching Peaches, and I missed Linguistic Stitches. She is also stitching, I can't remember what she's stitching. Linguistic Stitches also, I didn't write her down. I'm gonna put her on here now so I remember to tag her. She is stitching, I don't remember, and she has a Flosstube channel too, so check her out. And then two others. I have Krista at Clover Hop Stitching is stitching a group of 7 patterns that she found at an estate sale. So there's a lot of emotion behind those, and I'm really excited that she's going to be stitching those as part of my collector sal. I have Cross Stitch the Globe, Stephanie. She is stitching Celestial as part of it, and she's made her pattern work for 2 of the sals that are happening this month. And Abby Bella Stitch is actually putting her wall together and getting her stuff hanging, and I think working on a couple pieces as well. You can find hers on Instagram. She does have a Flosstube channel, so I will post her Flosstube channel, but she also has an Instagram where she posted pictures of getting her wall up and done. So just a huge thank you to all of my friends, all of my stitchy friends who are joining me in this amazing, amazing birthday sal. Amazing not because I created it, amazing because of you all and what you are putting into it and what you are joining along with. I appreciate you so much. If I missed you and you are stitching as part of the sal, please let me know so I can get you mentioned in my next video. Again, since I'm doing weeklies, we're just gonna keep rolling with everybody that joins in. My birthday, yes, is tomorrow, but this sal is going for the whole month of March, so you can really get going on all of those stitches. I still have 2 more whips to show you too, but let me talk about a little bit more birthday-ish, because not just me. There are a bunch of Flosstubers, especially in this first week of March, that have birthdays, and there's a lot of us that are saling different things. So Sheldon in Stitch's birthday is also today. Happy birthday, Sheldon. And he is stitching with JedxStitch Stitch, whose birthday is March 12th. They are stitching each other's birthday starts. That is under the hashtag March Birthday Sal. So Jason and Sheldon on the 12th are starting an Owl Forest pattern, and they invited people to start Owl Forest patterns with them. It just so happens that one of my moths is Moth Waltz from Owl Forest, so I will be starting that sometime between the 4th and the 12th in honor of their birthdays. Melanie from Uplift Stitches is hosting the Birthday Sal. So instead of birth at the beginning, it's bird or birds. I'll look it up before I put the hashtag down there. And yeah, so there's just a lot of birthdayness happening in this beginning of March. Michelle Bendy Stitchy's birthday is in the 2nd week of March, I think. So happy birthday to her as well. Although I think it's before I would come back again. So happy birthday, Michelle. And yeah, we just have a lot of birthdays happening. All right, I've got 2 more whips to show you, and then I think we're good. After I finished Lilies and started on my moth, I was like, ooh, I haven't stitched full coverage in a little bit, because I was like so focused on Lilies. So I made a deal with myself because I really like stitching full coverage. It's very relaxing for me. And if I pick up my project for 3 days, even if I'm stitching other stuff, I can usually get in about 1,000 stitches. I feel like 1,000 stitches is enough to see progress on a full coverage project, especially the way that I stitch. Now, I don't think I was smart enough to take a picture of this one the last time I showed it to you, but maybe I did. So if I did, here's where it was then. If not, here's where it was at the beginning of the year. As far as, so I stitched 1,064 stitches on it since the last time I showed it on my Flosstube channel. If it is my whip parade picture, I have stitched 1,724 stitches since that picture. So not a giant gap, but this is Cauldron of Mer from Unconventional X Stitch. It's charted by Unconventional X Stitch. The artwork is by Ivy Dolamore. So this is what it will look like when it's complete. And again, where I was and where it is. So here is what I have completed. This is now at 9,540 stitches out of 156,600. It's at 6.09%. So hit that milestone of getting over another percentage. And I am so happy about this that I am making myself a new rule that I would like to put 1,000 stitches a week into a full coverage project. So it doesn't matter which one. I have 5 if you count a peacock, a unicorn, a badger, which I do. That's full coverage. And it's a paper pattern though, so sometimes it takes a little longer, but sometimes it doesn't, and I don't really count. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Maybe that one won't be in there. But I've got enough different full coverages to choose from. I've got fabric to stitch, to choose another one if the spirit so moves me. I feel like that could be a possibility, but I am going to commit to 1,000 stitches a week on full coverage amongst all of the other things that I'm doing, which is why we're going to see how this once a week goes, because I feel like that is definitely going to give me a little bit more to show you as far as progress goes on full coverage. And I'll always have something kind of to show you where I got to. And 1,000 stitches, like I said, is good because like I filled in a lot of stuff up here, and I am closing in on 2 page finishes on this. Now granted, they are not full pages because one of them is this page, which this is the edge of the pattern, so it is a partial page, and then the other one is like here, and that again, it's not a full page, but I'm counting page finishes if they're more than 3/4 of what a normal page would be. I'm counting those. The little slivery kind of things that we sometimes see on full coverage where it's like not the full page, I'm not going to be counting those ones as page finishes. Those are just kind of off in in my, they count in my stitch count, they don't count in pages. But if it's more than 3/4 of what a normal page would be for that project, I am counting it as a page finish. The next time I pick this up, I could potentially have 2 more page finishes on it. This one, there's a color that kind of like goes up this way that I feel like will get me there. So this one's easy to get progress on because it's a lot of blocky stitching right now, and it tends to go fairly quickly. And then yesterday on my way home from work, it started snowing. And so I decided that I would follow my rules and pull out my snow day project, which is Shores of Hawkern Hollow. That is by Carriage House Samplings. So here's a picture of what that looks like when it's finished. And I am working on the black in the 4th box on the top. And I added all these words and the letter T. I guess that counts as part of the words. And then I did a little bit more of this top border. For some reason, stitching this last box's border is counting the 92 stitches that it is giving me a little bit more anxiety than it normally does. Like the other ones, I stitched the outline of the box and I was like, okay, here we go. I think it's because it's going to be kind of like a determining factor on the other blocks, and so I really need to make sure that it's right. So I think I'm probably going to start working on getting the moon in, and then perhaps I will finish out that box. But I got those little words done. It was a decent amount of stitching yesterday, and I am happy. The moon above will. What will it do? I do not know. All right, so plans. I am going to look through, I have a woodpecker that I may start for Melanie's birthday sal because I feel like she is hashtagging my stuff. I would like to stitch something and participate in hers. I have bird patterns that need to be started. My husband loves when he sees birds on other people's Flosstube videos. He is, he always gets really excited. The woodpecker pattern is something that he picked out like 2 years ago when we went to the Crafty Grimalkin. So I feel like he would be excited if I started that too. I am going to start Owl Forest's Moth Waltz sometime in the next week for Sheldon and Stitch's and Jason X Stitch's birthday. So for March birthday sal. And yeah, I don't know which full coverage I'm going to pick up because I don't plan stuff like that. I just grab what is calling to me out of my container, and 2 of them I have in my 2 Unconventional X Stitch are in their Q-snaps and ready to go. So those ones are really easy to pick up because they're just, I don't have to do anything to get them ready. I would like to close in on a page finish that I am working on Tiki Beach Sunset, but it's got a bit to go, but that just means it needs some more rotations. So adding some full coverage commitment into my wheelhouse now that Lilies is off the table. I am not sure what my focus on a finished piece is going to be. I think we'll leave that kind of out of the picture in March just because of all of the selling that's going to happen, plus market releases. Market is this weekend. It always makes that, like, is one of the fun parts of my birthday too. It's market. Like my birthday week is usually market week. So there's always fun spendy money from birthday money, and I get to pick out usually a new project or 2, and there's new fabric and there's new floss, and there's just, it's exciting. So 44 is gonna be a good year. I wonder if I'll get up to 44 whips this year with all these like moth starts and things. I don't know. I just knocked 2 huge projects off of my list this year. Getting Cryptid Sal completed and finishing the Lilies are both like big sighs of relief to get off of my whip list just because they were such big projects. Also though, I stitch big projects. So I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go. Maybe I focus more on Hawk Run Hollow because that is now my oldest whip, and it would be nice to get that one off of my whip list as well. And maybe I just make all of my older projects my focuses. I'm not quite sure yet. I've got to mull that over a little bit. But yeah, that's it. I want to thank you for joining me. Happy birthday to all of those in Pisces land. Welcome to Pisces season, everybody. It's a creative and emotional place, and it obviously infiltrated the Flosstube community this month with all of the birthday sales. I think the 12th is still, I think Jason is still in that realm. He's getting kind of cuspy though. And yeah, we are going to stitch our little hearts out, and we are going to be creative, and we are going to hold each other up while gestures wildly everything else is happening. And I hope you can find joy in your stitching, because I sure am. And it is really, other than my family, it's the light right now. It brings friendship, and it brings creativity, and it brings joy. So I hope you keep finding joy, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.